Miss Jenkins, how are you? You're muted. Can you unmute yourself?
No?
Hello?
Now?
Hello, hey, I'm fine. How are you? Yeah.
I'm fine, thank you.
You sent me an email. You say you are having problem with the last week assignments. This week, the assignment that are due tomorrow, right?
Yes. I don't see where you want, I know that I did post in the wrong place. I'm sorry, but that's the only place that I could see that was open to post.
Okay, let me open it now. Let me open share my screen with you.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Nunes was able to post some of it, some of them. Let me open this, Miss Jenkins. Let's see. Open up.
Okay.
It's right here. Not only you, all of you actually posted the discussion. They introduce yourself at the wrong place. So I will show you once you log in. I will share. I will show you how you will be seeing your screen. Let me log in first.
The introduce yourself, he wasn't able to reply.
What?
The introduce yourself assignment wasn't able to reply it.
He's saying that the way to, what he's basically saying the same thing I'm saying, that it's not allowing us to introduce ourselves or to take that syllabus quiz for the extra credit, which I want.
Let's see if I can figure out what is wrong. Okay. Now I'm in you. Okay. This is your class right here. Remember I said go to the models.
Right.
You go to the models. Then I will open my screen. Let me show you. This is how you see the screen. I will show you how you see the screen here. This is how you see my screen, right?
Yes.
Cool. So if you go to the model, this is the introduce yourself. 3. Okay. I see. So it is located at the oh, it's not here. So okay. Okay, let me put it there. Let me try this and see if it works for you. How about the other assignments like this one? Remember we started with a role of business. You can see these ones, right?
Yes, the assignments are fine. Did you want me to share my screen with you? I can tell you what I've been doing.
So it's like your screen is the same way. What you see in mine is what you see in yours, right?
Yes, but when I can show you what I have been doing repeatedly, trying to post to the introduction. If you will allow me, I'll share my screen.
I thought some of them you already sent a photo of them to me in my email.
I sent a picture of it. Yes.
Yeah, so I saw it. So let me see. Let's try this. Then you can now show me if you can see. Let me try this.
Okay.
Leave this so I can. Why is it not showing? Okay. Assignments. Come here. Okay, let me go all the way down. See if I can push it to the right. So do you have? Oh, unpublished models. Oh, see, I will click out. This at the end. I got orientation now. So you can see all this, okay?
We can see it, but we can't get into it.
You can see all this, but yeah, but you can't get into it.
Exactly.
Okay. I'll find out what is wrong with this. Okay. Now, can you see? Can you get into it now?
Okay, I'll try. You have my screen, so it's going to be a little difficult. If you could let me have my screen back.
I have the screen.
Yeah. No, you have your stuff is on the screen. So I'm having a difficult time getting to my screen because you're taking up all the space here. So give me a second. Exit full screen. Okay, now I'm back. Fine. So let me just go to.
Yeah, now you can share your screen now if you want to, so like we can see what you are saying.
Okay, yes, that would be a good idea. You have it disabled though. You have to give me permission to share it.
Okay. Permission. I disabled it.
Okay, when you go to share screen at the bottom of your screen, I'm looking at your screen right now. So you can go down to share. I teach Zoom. You go down to the green little arrow, share screen. And if you click on it, it will give you the options to hit multiple. And if you hit multiple, that'll allow me to share my screen.
Okay, I go to the green.
Yes, go to the bottom of your screen, hover over the bottom of the screen where it says participants, then there'll be a green arrow up and it says share screen. Just click on that, and as the host, it will say multiple, and you should be able to allow me to share my screen. Go to step by step, go down to the bottom of the screen where it says participants.
Yep, I'm here now.
Shares, no, all the way down to participants. Your cursor's not all the way down.
All the way down. This is you right here. You can see participants.
Share screen.
You are okay. This is share screen right here.
Okay, then click on share screen, just hover over and click, and a little pop-up will come up. And it will say,
see the participant up here. I have Mr. Nunez. So
what is it?
Yeah, she's trying to show me something. Can you see this dialog box, Miss?
No, I can't see right now. I can't. I'm going to ask you to request remote control. I'll do it that way. You are about to request remote control from the professor, Joseph.
Yeah, I'll approve it now.
Okay, great. So I should be able to control your screen. Please apologize. Oh, geez, this is going to be difficult. What I would normally do is I would go to courses. Let me just go back. And I would go to my course. And it's taken a little long time because of the fact that we're delayed here. More, please. Let me try the different way. It's not giving it to me. I can't seem to control your screen. Okay, wait a minute, now it is. Okay, so what I would normally do, here's your picture. I would go to assignments, for example, or either one modular. And then when I go to assignments, it says introduce yourself, and I would click on here. And then it says until the 28th, which is tomorrow. I go to introduce myself. And what I see on my screen, come on, baby.
No, I want to see your own screen.
Oh, you want to see my own screen? Okay, then you have to give me control to do that. Maybe it's at the top. If you're the host, I'm going to relinquish, give up control. So now I'm not in control of your screen, but you have to give me permission to see my screen. So you either have to do it at the bottom where share screen is disabled. So you have to give me permission to do that. So you would have to go either on for share screen button, either at the bottom or the top, might be at the bottom or at the top, look for your share screen. And then when you click on it, don't just click and hold, and it will say multiple. So you allow more than one person other than you to get the screen, to share the screen.
So give me the control, I give you back.
I'm viewing you. I relinquish control. So it's now you're in control now.
And now it's share screen.
Yep, exactly.
So I have share screen and then
share screen. When you're on share screen, which is a green button, then just hold it and click, and a pop-up will come.
Yes, it come on my screen. All the stuff in my screen came up.
Okay, when you hold and click, it should come up multiple participants. That means that more than one person can share their screen.
Mine is not really giving me those things. Let me try it again. I have it. I'm on it. I'm hovering on it now.
Okay, and click on it.
Then I click on it. It only brings what I have on my screen that I want to share with you.
It doesn't say for multiple. No. I don't know how else to do this. Share screen.
Anyway, the most important thing is that can you try to see if you can open the introduce yourself? Can you see the introduce yourself now?
Yes, on your screen, because I have your screen in front of me.
Yeah, Mr. Nunes, how about you?
Let me see.
Check it. So I want to make sure that everybody see, because this thing is due tomorrow.
It says the assignment will be available until tomorrow. It's not available yet.
They introduce yourself, yes. So can you click on it? I want to see if you can go into that, because you guys posted at the wrong place. I want you to copy those things that you posted there and then transfer to this so I can grade them.
Oh, isn't this the assignment that say, what is your name, major? Are you a full?
Yeah, that's one of them. That's the orientation. They introduce yourself.
All right. Yeah, that is available right now. It's due tomorrow.
Ms. Jenkins, how about yours? All yours is available now, right?
Okay, can you not show me your screen so I can get into my information, please? So can you stop sharing?
Yeah, I can stop sharing.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So
okay, so let me now go into my stuff. So when I go into my stuff, let me see. Going into BCC, going into Canvas, going into, waiting for it to load, loading, signing in. Signing in. Okay, now I go into courses. Now I go into BUAD 100. I'm in that course. I go into assignments. And when I go into assignments,
don't go to assignments, go to modules.
Go into modulars.
You assess all your assignments, you go through the modules.
Okay.
Don't go to the assignments, yeah.
Okay, so I'm in modulars.
Except for discussions.
Okay. I'm in modulars now, so I'm scrolling down, and in the modulars, I'm looking for syllabus or introduce yourself, and that's what I have. And I have introduce yourself 10 points. I have a video, and I'm going to see if I can post. Yes, I can post now.
So that was the question you were asking me on the email, right?
Yes.
So now we are good on that.
Yes, introduce yourself is open now, and the quiz that I want to take, let's see, where's that quiz? Go into modulars, go into all the way at the bottom, go into syllabus quiz. I want to take that syllabus quiz. Introduction, take the quiz again. Oh, I took that quiz already. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay, good. Okay. So now we can start. So this is week 3, but for us, it's week 2 because remember that you missed the first week of class. So you all can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Now today we'll be working on the economic environment of a business.
Can I ask a question?
Can
I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
I did see, and I looked at the YouTube, the second part of the course.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for doing that. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're
Are
welcome.
the notes, I did not find your lecture notes. Are you going to post the lecture notes, or that's
Oh.
just for in class?
Oh, you have this, you have, if you want, I can upload it for you, but you already have one. Let me show you.
Yes, but that, file for, there were two files for us to read and the video. So the video was just obviously a video. The file, which was the PowerPoint, it really wasn't very helpful. It wasn't much information there. And then of course you gave us the regular textbook. But
Yeah.
I was wondering if we could, I mean, it may be private and we won't want to share it, but your notes are so good, Professor, that you're sharing with us. That
Okay, thank you. Thank you. You know what? I'm going to upload, but you know, it doesn't cover everything for the week. That's why I still have the textbook. So let me show you something. When we go to what is it again? Models.
Yes.
You will have the PowerPoint in that particular one is not much in the PowerPoint, but it covers the one that I want you to read. Actually, is the textbook part of it. Because so for example, this week I want you to read the chapter 2 and chapter 3. This one, chapter 2, this one here.
Yes.
On the PDF.
Yes.
And then chapter 3 as well. So this one cover some of the things.
Okay.
You know, your teacher cannot cover everything in only 2 hours. 3 hours. So now your own part is to read up the remaining part. But for this one, I'm going to cover most of them. The economic environment today. But the chapter 3, which is the global environment, I would like you to download the this one here, the chapter 3, which is covers global environment, is here. So once you go into this place, you can see the PowerPoint and the chapter itself, the chapter 3. Now I can also upload this one for you in the file section, my PowerPoint. If you want me to do that, I will do that.
Well, yes, if you could upload your notes to us to files, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. So that means if you want to have my notes, you find it in the file section. If you click on the file, I will upload it after today, so you can see them here and download them from here. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure, you're welcome. Welcome. So let us begin then. Yep, let's begin. So today we'll be working on. So let me show you before we start. Let me show you what you need to do this week. My announcement comes for week 3. Announcements. You have the assignments that are due week 3. Of course, the reading materials, chapter 3 and chapter 2 and chapter 3. I've already shown you where they are located. Read them. I will cover most of chapter 2 today. Then chapter 3, their own student input. Yeah, read chapter 3 before you start the homework, the matching quiz of chapter 3. Then chapter 2 and 3 matching quizzes, they are due on March 7th. You can do that one by March 7th. Then chapter 2 and 3 practice quizzes are also due on March 7th. The ones that are due tomorrow are the ones that I will cover last week. Okay. So always read the chapters. That way you can get more information and more perspective in what we cover each week. Okay. So we can start now. Now, the economic environment of a business, that's basically an introduction to economic part of this course. So, as we know, economics means how people make choices under a very under scarcity, condition of scarcity. As economists, we assume that, not assume, because it is real, things are scarce in nature. Even a rich country like United States still have to make choices. If they spend more on ammunitions or maybe on foreign missions, they will have less to spend. at the home front. So what I'm trying to say is here that nobody has everything, you know, in abundance, that they can spend everything the way they want. You have to either you want to make these expenses, increase expenses on this one, they have to cut on that one. That's basically one of the reasons why countries also borrow. They want to spend, if you want to spend more on infrastructure, you might have to cut some amount of money you want to spend on defense and vice versa. So at the individual level, we also make choices like that. Or are we gonna go to that vacation in summer? That means we might start cutting expenses on certain things so as to be able to save for the vacation. And so on and so forth. So in economics simply means the study of how people make choices under the condition of uncertainty. Now, so I wrote here that every individual or a society decides how to do economic. Sorry, my mistake. Everything an individual or a society decide to do have economic dimensions. So, if you decide to spend time with friends, we'll have less time to spend on our studies. So at any particular instance, we always make choices. Okay. Now, if the government decide to, let's say your county wanted to spend more on public schools, then it may have to cut some of the budget on public safety, for instance. And so to sum it up, I would say that economics is everywhere, really, because we live with it. And some of those decisions we make every day, we make them without even thinking about it. But we are all actually acting as economists. So now, let us see what that scarcity. Our definition, we started with scarcity. How human beings make decisions under scarcity is economists. So what is that scarcity? Scarcity simply means limited in supply. So every resource we have, when I say resources, I mean those things that are useful for us. They are scarce because they are limited in supply. Things like time. Time is gone forever. So that means we have to decide how to spend that time. Yeah, of course, between me and you know already that time, once that time passes, you can't get it back again. How about labor? Some places have large supply of labor. Some other countries have less supply of labor. So they can have to make choices, or even companies at the corporate level. A company might decide, shall we produce something using machines, or shall we produce it using human labor? I'll give you an example. If you remember the time when if you want to buy a lottery, you have to go inside the gas station and then stay in the line and then pay for it. Now that gas station, for example, have decided to sell their lottery tickets using human power. Now, but there are some gas stations where you can go in and they say, oh, that's the lottery machine over there. So they have decided to use machine. So you can see the trade-off there. Now, if you want to use more machine, then you have to use less labor. If you want to use more labor, you have to use less machine, and vice versa. So under scarcity, there's simply not enough resources to meet all our needs and desires, which means that we have to make a trade-off. So this scarcity that exists forces us to choose and to make choices. So of course, we know the value of sleeping, having a nice sleep, or working out, or going to grocery stores, and of course, spending time on social networking websites. Now, but you chose to come to class and listen to me, because this time, either you spend it listening to me, or you spend it sleeping. You chose this one because of the kind of the value you assign to coming to class versus going to grocery at this particular time. So this time you use here, listen to me, you cannot use it that same time going to grocery. Either you are at the grocery or you're here with me. So because of that limitation of this particular time, from 9 o'clock today to 12 o'clock today. So this is the time that you have to choose to stay with me here, or to go to the grocery store, or to spend it on Facebook, and so on and so forth. So now, as a family, you can decide whether to have a new car or to go on a vacation. So now, buying a new car means that you might have to forego the vacation. And going to that vacation means that you might have to forego the new car. Now, there are some families who can afford both. They can buy the new car and go on vacation at the same time. But when you look at those families, you see that there are also something that they cannot afford both at the same time. Might be buying this new house at their country home, at the countryside, or buying that a similar house at the city. If they buy the one at the country home, at the countryside, they might not be able to buy the one in the city. So it goes on levels. Now, but bottom line is that all these things are limited in supply, and they force us to make choices, to choose between alternatives. Now, so if we choose one alternative, we forgo the other alternative, and vice versa. Now, not only us, towns and cities, they must choose between putting more budget on the police and fire protection, or in the school system. So if you cut more police budget, that means you can add that budget, to the school system. If you want to give more to the police, that means you have to cut the money. The resources have to come from somewhere. So now, of course, I think I have mentioned the U.S. example before, where they have to make choices between cutting the budget for national defense, and spending it into environmental protection activities, or increasing the national budget for national defense budget, and then reducing the amount they spend for protecting the environment. So the study of economics just help us to understand how we make these decisions. Now, this is just one version of the course. This particular version deals with economic environment, which means basically economics. The other part deals with the global environment, the one I want you to read up, chapter 3. That one have a lot of information about business, like franchise and so on and so forth. It's very, very interesting. I encourage you to read it, especially before you take the matching quiz. So now, any question before I continue?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, good. How about you, Mr. Nunes?
No, I don't have any question.
Okay, good. Now we can look at the opportunity cost. So opportunity cost simply means the cost of a foregone alternative. So it is similar to what I have mentioned in the previous slides. If you choose this activity, then you have to forego the other one. But it's a fundamental principle in economics that every choice has a cost. So, and this kind of cost surrounds us all. Especially, for example, if you choose to spend time watching movies, let's say you have a time frame like from 4 p.m. today to 10 p.m. Now you can choose. That is too long. let me say 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. You have, for example, this is the time block that you have. Time blocks have some kind of limitations. If you use this time from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., that time is gone. Now for that time, You can use it either to study your book and do your assignments, or to watch movie. So those will have cost. So now, what is opportunity cost now? If you decide to spend that time watching movie, yeah, the cost, what it costs you is the assignment and reading that you didn't do. That becomes your opportunity cost. Now, if you choose to do the assignments, especially if there is this particular, if that particular time slot, there is a particular, maybe a movie that you're supposed to view at that time, on the TV. Of course, I know that now these days you can record the movies and watch them at any other time. But that particular time frame, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. of that day, if you decide to choose it, doing assignments and reading, the cost to you for that period is the movies that you didn't watch. So that becomes your opportunity cost. So the cost of a foregone alternative is the opportunity cost. Now, I'll give you another example. Suppose you apply for a job, a job, and you got 2 offers, one in New York and one in Baltimore. Now, if you decide to choose the one in Baltimore, that means the cost to you is the New York that you cannot choose. That becomes your opportunity cost. Now, if you choose to work in New York, then the opportunity cost for you is that you won't work in Baltimore. So that cost of the foregone alternative is in the opportunity cost. And then I'll give you another example. When it comes to government, the federal government might decide to spend more tax revenue to improve the environment, or you can spend it more tax revenue to provide education and health. So now, if you spend that money on the improved environment, they will have less. That extra money they want to spend, they cannot spend it on education and health at the same time. I think I can illustrate it with an example. Now, the government make budgets every year, which simply means an estimate of their income and expenditures in different sectors. Now, suppose they have a surplus of 2 billion that they don't know what to do, where to put it. Now, that 2 billion surplus, they can put it in defense, or they can put it in health and education sector. Now, if they put it in defense, the cost to them, the opportunity cost to them is the education and health that they didn't put the money in. Now, if they decide to put it in education and defense, that 2 billion, the cost to them will be the amount that they didn't put in defense. That becomes the opportunity cost. So you can see that we live with it every day. We don't even think about it. We make that choices, and in fact, our days are filled with opportunity cost. Oh, I want to drink coffee, and I want to drink soda. Now, that particular time you choose to drink coffee, the opportunity cost is this soda you're not drinking. And now, if you decide to drink soda instead, the opportunity cost because the coffee you're not drinking at the same time. So now, which leads us to what we call the division of labor. Now, remember, this class is not an economic class. It's a business class. So it comprises of different sectors, including the economics part of it. So this is the economic part of it. So I'm going to touch different concepts in economics at the introductory part of it. Now, the division of labor and specialization. So what does this mean? Division of labor simply means dividing job into many specialized parts, which a single worker or a few workers assigned to each part. Now, this actually is what we see in our factory system, where individuals are given different positions in the factory. Some people are involved. I only do the packing. Some do only the labeling, and so forth, and so on and so forth. Now, so this division of labor, this principle, this concept was originated by this Adam Smith, who was a Scottish philosopher of the 18th century. So now, in his book Wealth of Nations, he explained what the division of labor means. In those days, you see there's different craftsmen or people that do many, do all kind of artisan jobs. Now, one person can do all the jobs, like a blacksmith. We start that want to produce maybe a spoon. We do the stretching, heating, and the modeling. Everything we done by one person. And you will see that so that person have limitations. The output will be small because if one person do the whole thing, cutting up the metal, stretching it, shaping it, and then designing it, it takes a while. But Smith found out that if you can break this task into different stages, one person will be responsible for only for just the cutting of the iron or the metal. Just cut it, keep, and so on and so forth. That's what he does for the day. Another person will be responsible for bending it. Just take it and bend, take another one and bend, and so on and so forth. Then another person will be responsible for shaping it. The output will increase. I mean, those things doesn't in today's environment we live with them, so we don't really. But in those days, the people don't have stuff like that. One person will be doing the whole job. Now, we have specializations. So if you look at a company like Amazon, if you go to Amazon warehouse, you see that each person is doing only one thing or two, not different things. Now, if you go to the hospital, we have nurses doing their own type of job only. You have a heart doctor specializing only in the heart. You have the skin doctor in the skin. So when we do that, we produce larger quantity in a very short time than when one person is doing the whole thing. So that's what he find out in the division of labor. Now, I mean, that is the basic idea behind the division of labor. Now, specialization. So Adam Smith's argument is that he continued, according to what I wrote here, he argued that when tasks involved in making something like a pin is divided and then subdivided, the workers can produce greater quantity. So that means if they can produce greater quantity, that means they will have more to sell, and that will make more money for the company. And then, of course, when the company makes money, the society is become better off because they pay more taxes, which the government can use to provide what essential services. So now, when one worker is doing every work according to speed, he found that person can produce only 20 pins a day. So if we have, let's say we have one person, let me show you something. I think I'm gonna share something with you. Let me show you this. What Smith is trying to say here. I'm gonna use online calculator to show you something. Now, he found that when one person is doing it, it can produce 20 pins per day. Okay. Now, suppose that there are 20 people working in that place, and each of them is doing the cutting, bending, stretching, because for a pin, to produce a pin, Smith found out that the process involves different tasks like drawing out a piece of wire, cutting the wire to the right length, and then straightening it, then putting a head on it, and so on and so forth. So when that one person is doing all that, and the factory have 50 people working there, one person will cut it, draw it, stretch it, put the head, then keep it. So multiply by 20. You see, they can produce only 20 pins a day because all this process I mentioned take time to do. It takes time for you to draw the pin, draw out a piece of wire, then cut it out. It's not a simple. When I say it, it looks like it takes a few minutes. No, it takes a long time. So if one person is doing it, it will take a longer time. And that now 20 pins times 50 will give us In this case, 20 times 50 should be, let me show you with the decimals. So 20 times 50. This most is a simple, is a free calculator we have online. So 20 times 50 a day gives you only 1,000. Okay, 1,000 pins produced. But according to him, when this job is divided, one person was to do only the cutting. You cut, you keep. You cut, you keep all day, except during break, of course. Now, they can produce 40,000 pins in a day. What he's trying to illustrate here is that there will be an astronomical increase in the output if jobs are divided, people specialize in doing only one thing, that is only one task that is involved in the manufacturing of a product. So that's how this idea becomes popular. So now he was able to prove that it is the best way to increase output. So now, under division of labor, we have what they called specialization. And Adam Smith was able to convince us that the division of labor increases production for three main reasons. One of them is specialization. When people specialize, they do the same thing over and over, they get better and better. So they can know how to complete that task in a very short time because they are doing it over and over. So as workers becomes more good at doing it, they become more efficient and production also increases. The second reason is that specialization in a particular small job actually allows workers to focus only on the parts of the production process that they have, that have more advantage doing. So now this one usually can apply to people. It can also apply to country. So now those that have skills or talents that they can do better, they can focus on those ones. And because they have this kind of more advantage over other people doing it, it will cause them to do it better and better and better and faster as well, leading to an increase in output. And I give examples here. Only those with medical training can qualify to become doctors, for example. Now, and for some goods, this one applies to countries. There are countries like that can have certain good in abundance. They can say, okay, let's specialize in this in producing it. Not that they put everything they have in producing that product, but they put more, resources there that can cause them to increase more of it. For example, there are countries that have a large quantity of natural resources deposits. Countries like Australia and some African countries, and then of course Middle East. So they specialize in those ones. Of course, they produce other things as well, but they put more resources into their producing those natural resources versus trying to do everything by themselves. Now, if you live in near a big city, like I wrote here, now you can discover that it is easier to attract enough customers to operate dry cleaning business or movie theaters if you live in a sparsely populated area. What I'm trying to say here is that if you live near a big city now, and somebody who lives in a city that have lower population, you can see that you can get more customers. If you have a cleaning business or even a movie business, you have advantage of getting more customers. And when you provide service like dry cleaning or movie, it is also production. Now, so you that live near the big city have a bigger advantage than somebody who live in the countryside, because you have more just by your location alone, you have access to more customers. So it's more, you can focus on producing only or doing only the cleaning business or janitorial service, they call it, or movie business, then somebody in the countryside could have more closer to agricultural to produce. Because okay, movie business will not work for me here. This is what I have advantage of doing. I have access to more natural farmers, so I can specialize in only produce. Then now you can exchange. When I specialize in produce, because I live in the countryside, you who live near a big city, specialize in providing janitorial services or cleaning services. Then whatever you make from that, doing those things, then you can now use it to buy what I'm producing. And I will use mine to buy what you're producing. So that brings about exchange. Now, another reason Smith gave is this, that specialization allows businesses to take advantage of economies of scale, which means that some country, when you produce on a large scale, that means you buy in quantity. You usually save the cost by buying in quantity. So, and as production increases, then per unit cost also decreases. Why? Like I said, because when you buy in quantity, you usually get some discounts and so many benefits that you get that will cut, down the cost of the input. So when you specialize in doing something, that means you buy that input even in larger quantity, and then save more cost. So any question from me?
I don't have a question, but I did work to put myself through school on a assembly line, and the pay was low. The people were not well educated, and it was really, you do become very, very good at doing one task because you're doing it over and over and over, a repetition. But it also puts a strain on that part of your body, carpal tunnel, for example, in your hands, because you're doing the same job. You might do it within a minute. You might do it 100 times within a minute, or maybe more, depending on what part of the assembly line you were on. And it also becomes very demeaning because when I worked on the assembly line division of labor, the machine was in control of you. You weren't in control of the machine. So if management made a decision that they had an order for 1,000 widgets, more than what they were normally producing, they would rev up that machine so that you had to keep pace with the machine. The machine was, I should not be a slave to the machine. The machine should be a slave to me. But I see what you're saying, and I understand. I read as part of my undergraduate, The Wealth of Nations. And I read it, and I understand it. But he leaves out big chunks of the human aspect, the human cost or toll on the division of labor. Can I continue?
Go ahead.
Okay. For example, I've had friends when they started out the computer field. This was 40 years ago, because that's how old I am.
We're all old, Miss.
And at that point in time, people writing programs, they wrote for a particular project, they would write it from start to finish. But as the field expanded and as specialization came into that field, they started allocating, okay, you're going to write this part of the program, you're going to write this part of the program, you're going to write this part of it. You become very good at writing that part of the program, what they need. But it's just I guess if you look at strictly from economics, it's perfect. If you look at it broader than economics, it's not perfect because the times that I did division of labor on the assembly line, those were very demeaning jobs. I never saw the end product, for example. I just saw putting this little piece of tab into this box, it was a computer circuit, putting this little tab into the box. As the computer went by, that's all I did. So yeah. I understand. I appreciate what you're saying. This is really hitting home for me.
And I understand what you're saying. In that case, that means nobody is the master of the universe that you know all. That's what is. But what I say that particular job that you did at that level that you did it is demeaning, right? That's what it means, right?
Yes, it was, well, it was demeaning to me. I only did it so I could put myself through school.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
and you know, the wage, I didn't have any credentials. I didn't have, as you talked about, I didn't have any experience. You talked about last week, credentials and experience going hand in hand. I didn't have any of that. I mean, I was fresh out of high school, so I knew nothing. Okay.
Of course, that's why economies put a price on the skill that you have. That skill you have at that time, that's why you have that kind of job. Now that you have a bigger skill, there's still division of labor, but now the price is now higher for you because now you have some skill that the economy wants. You see what I mean?
Yes.
So that's why I said division of labor is on levels. And also, that is division of labor at that level that you have at that time. Now you are now at a particular level and doing a particular part of the job that you have, which is still division of labor. And you also mentioned of the computer, the technology part of it, the computer part of it. Yes, when they divided it, as time goes on, all these things we have today, iPad, iPhone, it's because division of labor. If you are doing something over and over and over, you learn every tricks about that thing. That means you can introduce machine and you can even innovate on how to improve that thing. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but nobody knows all. So everybody become a part. Like this computer now that I'm using to teach you, that it is what the components. If I told you what is in this computer, you discover that more than 10 countries. I'm actually using what was produced by more than 10 countries. Different components of this computer are produced by different companies that specialize in doing only that.
Exactly.
See, then one company now that's mine is I think mine is Dell is now specialized in assembling all those components from this place, from the chip come from this country, or from this company, and then part of that chip we are made by different companies from different countries. So I have a whole world, a global, in this tiny laptop I have. So, but the bottom line is this: they all specialize in doing all these things, and doing only that. Therefore, increasing the output. Not only that, keep on innovating because they are doing only one thing. So when this principle that Adam Smith brought out was applied, it actually led to very big output. Now, when you divide jobs, you can easily introduce machine that will do those jobs too. You see what I mean?
Yes.
And so when you look at it in the light of, let's say, sentimentally, you might say, okay, this is and it's like I'm a slave to the machine, or I'm a slave to this job. But economically, of course, it's not a perfect system. But at least when you check, there's something we say in economics. We said you take when you have two evils, you take the better of the two evils. So if you take the better side of if you compare where we'll be now without division of labor, then you can see the difference. That actually it made the world better, really. Yeah. So now usually people, if you are ambitious, like you are, that job that you say you are doing it because you want to put yourself through school, because you're ambitious. So you can say this is not for me. Now let me make myself more marketable by getting more. Let me use this job as a springboard to my next job. Now, even at that level that you are, at the point you feel like you are a robot. You are doing only this. You are doing only. What were you doing then, Miss Lane?
I'm sorry.
What were you doing that time that you said you are doing this job only to get yourself through?
It was I did various, I mean, there was a great turnover. So I did a lot of assembly line jobs. And I even worked in a bakery where they used the assembly line. But in particular, they were
at the assembly line, what was your job at the assembly line?
Well, one of the jobs I did for the assembly line, they were making small parts, transistor parts for radios way back then. So I was just part of my job. They would rotate us around the machine. So you would be doing maybe that job for an hour, and then they would switch you over to another part, but you'd be doing that job for an hour. So they did try to break up the monotony, because you would just go insane. And all I did was I pushed a button, I pushed a little like pin into another piece that a person further up the line had already worked on.
Yeah, it becomes so monotonous, because that's one of the disadvantages of division of labor. Well, monotony kills interest. You know, I'm doing this at a point you feel bored, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's one of the.
It leads to a couple of things. Number one, it leads to boredom, but it also leads to wanting to sabotage, because I was angry that they would rev up the machine because they needed more of the product. So if I didn't put that little tab in, and if I could get away with it, they don't inspect every one of those little devices. They can't. So that leads to sabotage, where you want to say, I'm just going to not put that in there. But I'll put in the next one, the next one, the next one. Oh, well, that one didn't quite go in there. But I'm sorry about that. They do inspect, of course, but they can't inspect every one of the devices. And I'm not the only person doing that. So, of course, I mean, you got machine after machine after machine next to each other. Everybody's doing, and my area is doing that. So they really couldn't bring it back to me. And if they did, it was only a job that I really didn't want. So I made money. I got myself through, through that hurdle, got myself through school that semester. But I can understand why they moved on to, in 10 years, they no longer had a person doing that. They had a machine doing it. The machines don't whine. Machines don't whine. They don't cry. They don't carry on. They don't get bitchy about doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah. Machines don't do that.
Yeah. So now, but because of the fact that they divided the job into different tasks, they were able to figure out the kind of machine to design for that. Yes. So now let's go to Mr. Nunes. You have a question?
No, so far.
Okay. Now let's look at the modern day division of labor. I use 3 examples. I have the Apple products, designed in California, produced in China. So some of the components in the Apple phone, in the Apple products, and we are designed in US, California here. So those in the Silicon Valley, they just design, they just research and design. Then they now start looking for where to build it at affordable cost, so that they can be able, because when you design a product and build it, and then if the cost is so high, people cannot afford it. That means it might not sell the way you want it to sell. You have to put it at a price that people can afford to buy. So usually they find that then, okay, we have the design, who can build it for us at affordable cost. So they used to move it to China or any of these in place that wherever they can find a cheaper labor that we make them to produce that thing at affordable price. They can send it there. So now, but they specialize in doing what? Designing. Those people that build it for them specialize in building part of it. Now, when it comes to the building part of it, it won't be even that company that built it for them. The smaller, tiny components might be buying it from another company in that country, and it goes like that. Now, so the process is split into many different parts: design, hardware, software, manufacture, marketing, production, and then assembly. Then how about trade between nations? Okay, these countries specialize in producing something, and another country specialize in doing something else, and then they can trade with it. So will you buy this from us? We buy that. We buy this other thing from you. Now there used to be a time when, of course, we buy so much oil. I mean, crude oil from oil producing countries, like many countries in Africa, even including my own country, Nigeria. We have plenty of crude oil. As you know, crude oil is used for making gas, diesel, and so many products we use. Now at the time, there's what we call them. Let me write it here. OPEC. I'm sure you must have heard of this word, OPEC. Have you heard this word before? OPEC.
No, I haven't.
Okay. OPEC is the Organization of Petroleum Production Companies. See? So, sorry, not companies, countries, not companies, countries. So those countries that have large deposit of crude oil, as we use to make gas, and both the gas, even the cooking gas, and gas that heat our houses, and the gas we use to drive our cars. So now, the countries in this as an organization, there was a time they control the world oil, and they still do actually to a very large extent, because they have those deposits in very large quantity and they sell to different countries. US produce oils as well, but that time, and I was telling you, the cost of producing oil in the US is higher than in OPEC. Oh, in OPEC countries like Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, even Venezuela, and other countries involved in OPEC, or Iran, Iraq. The oil was so much, and not only that, there are plenty of it, but the kind of oil they have, the cost of processing it, refining it is lower, because they have low sulfur on it. My own country, our own, they can call it sweet crude oil, because they have very little. You don't have to process it much, and you have your gas, you have your. Anyway, long story short, because of that, they were controlling the market. So they sell to us, to US or to other countries, Europe. Then they buy manufactured products from them. So America is good at in software. So now you produce software, we have oil, then we exchange, we trade. That is the essence of trade. You specialize in what you are producing better, and the other country specialize in what they are producing better. Then there will be increased output, supplement. Then we now trade. That is the essence of anybody involved in international trade. Know that you are always going to a country where you can buy something cheaper and bring it here to sell it. You're getting it cheaper there because they have some kind of comparative advantage that make it cost less for them to produce it. They cost you more to produce it here, but cost them less to produce it here. And I'll give you another more examples of this. Now, many products, like I have already mentioned, iPhone, are produced in, even though we have the design here, but many of them are produced in China or any of the Asian countries where they have cheap labor. So those countries have what? Cheap labor. They have labor is cheaper there. So that's why companies move things. They can call it outsourcing or offshoring. Now, but we have the designs. So we trade them. You give us our cheap labor, you give us our design. So you produce it where it costs you less, because they specialize, because they have cheap labor. They supply it, and then you cannot produce it and then sell it to them. Now, so anyway, but in 2014, the US was able to, not only US, the scientists were able to discover what they call fracking. Now, there are oil. Remember, I mentioned that there was oil deposit in US too, but so because it's cheaper for them to buy in Saudi Arabia or from OPEC countries, then so they are not exploring those ones because it costs them more to exploit. But now they came out with what they call fracking. whereby those oil that are located at, in maybe hidden in the rocks, or in the location they are in the earth is so expensive to bring them out. So, but with fracking, they can pump in, they can drill down where those oil are located, and then pump in gas and water and other chemicals and bring the oil up. So because of that, they become a big producer of oil. Now, before this thing happened, the price of crude oil was, I think it was about $110 per barrel. But when this happened in 2014, that means that US can produce even more. So it caused the price of oil to collapse from 110 per barrel to, at the point, it was actually $30 per barrel. There was a point it went as bad as low as $20-something per barrel. So because of what? Because now US can supply it as well. But now it's going up now. I think it's about, as of last week, it's about $60 per barrel or $61 per barrel, I think. Now, another thing I want to mention here is under the modern day specialization of the division of labor is organizational structure. Every organization will have different sections. We have the human resources department. We have the accounting department. I think Ms. Lynn, you are in the accounting department, right? The IRS.
Yes, I'm in the accounting department. I'm trying to get my.
So those are the good example of a modern day division of labor. Your department is specializing in doing providing accounting services for IRS.
Yes.
Now, then we have other departments there. We have the HR that deal with everything about recruitment, employee, anything that have to do with hiring, employee compensation, and the rest of them. Then you have of course, you have the IT department. So these are modern day division of labor. Every department now specializes in what they are doing best. And at the end of the day, the whole organization gains from it, from division of labor. Which leads us to trade and markets. Trade increases wealth by allowing a person, a region, or a nation to specialize in those products that it produces at a lower opportunity cost. So now, trade is very, very, very important. In fact, because of trade, that we enjoy many things we enjoy today. I have already given you an example with the laptop. Anything you pick up in your house, television, wine, you see that you have many countries or many companies that you have in your hand. But if I pick up this phone, this is my cell phone here, I have a lot of more than 10 countries and more than 20 companies in my hand that their products were combined to have this cell phone. So this, and then it's possible for me to have it because of trade. The designers move the design to China, then they produce it, or China or any other country, or even in US here. Some company will be built in US here. Then how about a part of it, the glass, the cover, and all that? Some of them are produced in other countries, but through trade, they are brought it together into one cell phone assembly. Not only that, trade also creates jobs. Trade can also destroy jobs as well. As a matter of fact, during the election campaign, many of the presidential candidates are trying as well. We're gonna do policy that will create jobs, make this, make that. It's all about trade. Now, so I wrote here that trade create new, higher paying jobs for Americans and for any country. As a matter of fact, so for the America and their trading partners. So some countries are naturally have raw materials naturally. Like I already mentioned oil. The metals, fish in Iceland. In Congo, we have diamonds. And then, of course, we buy butter in New Zealand. Now, all those things that they have, they can produce at a cheap price. They can now sell to other countries. With the revenue they get from that sale, they can also buy. So trade actually is good. The only problem is that trade can, if a factory in US, I'm going to use one thing, one particular product. Let me use steel. There used to be a time US was almost controlling the market in steel. You know what I mean by steel? That we used to, like, it's a metal that used to build bridges.
Right.
Yeah. So now, but
Bridgeport, yeah, Bridgeport in Connecticut was a big steel, and of course Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and also yes, exactly, Pittsburgh. And then we have in Baltimore, we have what we call Bethlehem Steel. It used to be in Baltimore here that employs thousands of people. You know. Anyway, long story short, because of trade, free trade, now then manufacturers, like all those that build cars and other things, find that they can buy even cheaper steel from other countries. So that competition actually caused many, because now in the US, the cost of labor is high because of the fact that the US had some labor standard that we have. You have to have your factory working environment have to be meet some certain conditions, good working condition, and then we have the minimum wage that you have to pay for your employees, plus other benefits, health, and so on and so forth. Those things add to the cost of doing this. But in some countries like China, you don't really have stuff like that. They might have it in in paper, but if you don't follow it, so now if you don't follow it, it's as good as you don't have it. You know. So now, what might cost you $5 to make here might cost you maybe $1 to make in China. And I'm not going to make it there and bring it here. I'm just giving you an example. Not that it costs $5 here and costs $1 in China. What I'm saying that the cost of doing it there and bringing it and is much. Even after doing it there and bringing it here, you still have savings. Even after paying the custom duties and other things, you still cost you less. So because of that businesses, if you have a business, you have to cut down your expense account. Otherwise, you will not be making profit. So it costs many people to start buying from, countries where they can get it cheaper. So this caused many factory jobs in US to close. Like the steel industry almost collapsed. And so many factories collapsed because of this competition from free trade. So because of that, a lot of people are not don't feel happy about trade or free trade, and other than that, free trade is good. I mean, it costs jobs in some places, but we also gain. Big companies like Google, PayPal, so many of them I can mention. Because of free trade, they can get labor from any part of the world, and they have what we need. So anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that free trade can create jobs. We enjoy a lot of things we have in America because of the trade. We trade with different countries, and then we start buy from them, they buy from us, and so on and so forth. So the founding fathers also know about this. They say that I wrote here that the founding fathers cited Britain's cutting off our trade with all parts of the world as the reason for declaring independence, because they know that yes, we want this trade. If we don't trade with other countries, we can't buy everything that we produce. We need to trade. So by cutting it off is one of the reasons why they say, okay, we need to get our independence. Of course, the main thing is that they say they pay taxes without representation. But trade is one of the main, that time, I don't think there is the income tax during that time. So the tax is mainly import duties, exports, tariff, they call it tariff. So I wrote here that the framers of the US Constitution created a free trade area among the states that allow the interstate commerce to flow freely. So that the freedom of trade is the foundation of America's modern economic system that provides unprecedented opportunities for individuals to achieve greater economic freedom and prosperity. Question for me?
No questions.
No question. Good. Okay, good.
No question.
I can't hear you, Mr. Ness. Can you say it? Speak.
No, I just I don't have any question.
Okay. Now we can look at how the market allocate resources. Now I've already explained that economics is about how we allocate our resources or make decisions under scarcity. So in that means that we have to allocate our resources so that it will last for us, given that they are scarce. So in the market, the market or the economy allocates resources based on what the demand and supply. You know, in which case price plays a very important role when it comes to resource allocation, because price act as a signaling mechanism for us between buyers and sellers. So if buyers are willing to price, basically demand and supply and the price also tell us when to produce. If you remember that last year when the pandemic started, so the market is those in the health field were saying, oh, the what do you call it, hand sanitizer is a key. So that sent a signal, for the demand that because they are telling us that the hand sanitizer is very important for preventing the contact with coronavirus. Now, so that created a demand for hand sanitizer, and then it becomes a signal to the market, oh, we need to produce that. So demand and supply, and then prices. So that, at the point, hand sanitizer was scarce. There used to be that if you go to even a pharmacy store, you see hand sanitizer everywhere. But when the demand becomes so high, at the point, even some companies we are changing their factory, we are modifying it so that they can produce hand sanitizer. So that time you see a small business making wine, trying to change some of the machines so that they can produce hand sanitizer, because of that price and that demand is a signal to the market that this is in demand to start producing it. Now, so you see them allocating their scarce resources into producing something that the market wants. So markets not always lead to your desired tastes and preferences, because the market does not have a moral compass. So Ms. Lane, you cannot understand why you feel that way when you're working on that factory job. I mean, the market doesn't have the moral compass to say, oh, this job makes this employee happy. No, market is looking at this is what the customers want. Now produces whichever way you can at affordable prices. So the market simply provides what the buyers are demanding. Now, and this is one of the reasons why the drug trafficking and drug trade exist today. We make all our laws against it, spend millions of dollars in law enforcement, but the market wants it. I'm not talking about, so this is not pure economics. So long as there's some demand for it, there's going to be somebody producing it, even at a very costly price. Costly price to pay. For example, what I mean by price in this instance is if you are caught dealing with drugs, you know how many years you spend in jail and so on and so forth. But the market is want to pay more to take that risk. That is the only reason. If nobody is buying drugs, there won't be any market for it. So you see what I mean? So what's the point in taking all those risks if at the end of the day nobody is going to buy it? But this is where one of the reasons why some people are saying to decriminalize drugs. That when you decriminalize it, that means it will no longer be scarce.
Mm.
So then from that, that means if when it's not scarce, it's everywhere. The profit from it will now decline, and that will cause the drug trade to collapse. Well, they did it. They're doing it in marijuana now. I don't know. We'll see if the effect. Let's see. Let's know what I don't know what the effect will be in the next 10 years, because economic policies, the effects usually take time to show. But unlike that, they are trying to do it in marijuana now. They have many medical, they call it medical marijuana or something like that, and so we have different clinics.
Yes, Professor.
And also, go ahead.
No, it's interesting that you raised this as an issue. I grew up in a very poor neighborhood. Well, it was Philadelphia ghetto, and of course there were drugs, but in particularly, drugs was something that respectable people didn't touch. But number running, and you may never have heard of this, but number running was a really, really big gambling underworld business where was called play the numbers, and it was like a lottery, and it was run by the mafia, the underworld. So, and you knew different people that were involved in it. They were number runners, and you would give them the number. You could play the color, we call the colored numbers, because that's what the word was used back then. That was Black people. You could play like a penny and put it on 3 numbers. And then, but the mafia, the Italians, only you could play $1. And it was underworld illegal gambling. They were very much opposed to it becoming legal, because in all the states, I mean, when it first came to be, it was a very controversial, because it was a religious issue about gambling, about leaving people into the den of crime or immorality. But eventually I don't think there's any state that doesn't have legalized lottery to support their income. And the mafia, of course, once it became legal, people much rather do the legal aspect than the illegal aspect of gambling. And it forced the mafia out of that area.
Legalizing it?
Yes, and they had to, that was one of the reasons why they started pushing into loan sharking and the sale of drugs, because the bottom fell out of their gambling business. So it's very interesting what you're saying here about not they were running it as a business. It was illegal, but it was a business, and they saw
and we're making a lot of money from it until it becomes legalized. Some states say, okay, all right. Now, because of that, they're not making much more money from that. And then they started moving to loan sharking. That's what you're saying, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And they were able to flip from what they were doing as far as strong arming, loan sharking, and then going into the drug area, because they had to make up that revenue, which was being eaten by the legal lottery market run by the states.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why, because of what you said now, now by legalizing it is everywhere. You can buy. You don't have to go to the underworld to buy it anymore. You can just go to the store and buy it. So all the problems that comes with it, the war between gangsters, whereby, in fact, crime that comes with it now disappeared. I mean, we still have crime that come with other illegal stuff, but the ones that come from numbers now kind of disappear, because you can always buy it. Of course, it didn't disappear 100%, because we still have some illegal gambling still exists, like dog fights and so on, But it was a big problem before that legalization. It removed a big part of it, and then move it to where it will be available. So it decreased the crime associated with gambling a lot, to a very, very big extent. So because of that, a lot of people are saying, okay, let us legalize drug, and then if anybody is taking drug, the addict, instead of putting them in jail, they have to give them some kind of rehabilitation treatment, so as to decrease the demand. Once you decrease the demand, then profit will shrink, and then gradually it won't be a problem anymore associated with drugs. So now they're doing one thing I like. United States that they always do all this kind of, so a lot of social, they are willing to experiment with stuff, you know. So, and then they can find, because there was the time they experimented with the prohibition of alcohol. And then now they found out after they legalized it, when they prohibited alcohol, they created a lot of incentive and more profit. So it brought a new crime. At the same time that it brought crime, revenue that they should be making from alcohol taxes, they are not even making it for years. So the cost of even enforcing the prohibition law was so high, and because of the kind of money they make, the underworld are making, they're ready to pay off the treasury agents that are supposed to be enforcing abstinence, you know. So they have to, you know, now it's okay, this doesn't work. And then the ban was lifted. So now at the end of the day, it's still getting the demand and prices, and they send signal to the market that this is what to produce at this point. Now let us do some quick summary of the two concepts, microeconomics and macroeconomics. Microeconomics focuses mainly on action of individual agents within the economy, like households, you know, workers, businesses, small business, individual businesses. Usually in microeconomics, what we are looking for is answers for this kind of questions that we have here. What determines how household and individuals spend their money? How do people decide whether to work? And if so, whether to work full-time or part-time? What determines the products and how many of each a firm will produce and sell? These are the kind of things we deal with microeconomics. What determines the price a firm will charge? What determines how a firm will produce product, and so on and so on. But in macro, we're looking at the entire economy. So you can see, look at it this way. Microeconomics, you're looking at one tree, for example, individual trees. But in macro, you're looking at the entire wood or forest. So macro answer this kind of questions because you're looking at the economy as a whole. So we focus more on economic growth, unemployment, things like inflation, trade balance, like what determines the level of economic activity a country will have. So how many goods, what determines how many jobs are available in the economy? What determines the nation's standard of living? What causes economy to speed up or slow down economic growth? What causes firms to hire more workers or lay them off? So this kind of question that affect the entire economy, we deal with in macroeconomics. Which leads us to what we call the economic system. I think we did something similar to this last week. So the organized way in which a state or a country allocate their resources and also apportion goods and services is what we call the economic system. So the kind of economic system any country have determines how many goods and services that we produce, the right amount of people that will work in any industry, then how to make sure that the goods are produced in the best way possible, affordable and availability, and so many other factors comes in. So economic system that a country have actually determine these things. We have I'll call it four major economic systems. I will call it three this day because the first one, which is the traditional economy, is fast, it's almost disappeared. You still find it in some places like the countryside, even the countryside in US, they still have a lot of, in fact, you can only find the traditional economy in maybe developing countries. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, because even the countryside they still have modern, I would say modernized way of life, of production, and so on and so forth. Now, let's look at each of them. The traditional economy have this economic system. So it says the economic system or what this one is the most traditional and ancient type of economies in the world. Usually they center around tribe and family. So they use traditions gained from elders' experiences to guide the day-to-day life and economic decisions. So usually there are rural areas, and usually found in the developing world, and the economic system is closely tied to land through farming. So countries like many countries in Africa and some countries in South America, and then of course we have Asia, some countries in Asia. And then you can see this kind of rural economy there. In general, this type of economic system, surplus, you don't have much surplus. Farming is mainly more of farming is mainly I'll call it what you call they grow not really commercialized farming. What you call organic farming. Most of the farming in Africa, most of them are organic farming. Because like even in my village, we still have grow using most of the crops or the seeds and the crop that have been using for generation. Like all these improved seeds that you have here, what they call it, genetically modified plants. We don't have it over there, We just maybe you have some of the varieties of crop that we plant, maybe improved or maybe import or crossed breed. But usually that same species of corn that have been growing for years, even before I grew up, we're still growing those species of crops. So, and of course, the land are divided among families. Each families have their own land that they could grow. Unlike where you have some in advanced countries where you might have a place like as big as the whole of Baltimore being grown in by one farm. In terms of I will call it a plantation. When I mean plantation, I mean like plantation agriculture, whereby the whole of Baltimore can be grown only wheat or corn, and we have ranches here. But in many countries they don't have that. They have just, of course, there are some places where we have some big farms, but those big farms are actually, many of them are actually foreign owned by foreign companies. So they come in and then so the agricultural production is mainly the mainstay, and usually based on family, and so producing so much like a large quantity is very rare in those economies. Now, those kind of economy is disappearing because there are also many developing countries that have foreign firms that come in, to farm. Like in a place like Zimbabwe, they used to have big farms there. And then later on, due to the economic policy of the former president, I think his name was Mugabe. He's not the president now, but he was then. So he made some policies that are not favorable for the white farmers there. So many of them left, and then Zimbabwe went back to traditional farming. I mean, we call it peasant farming, and the whole country went into a very severe recession because that method of farming or economy cannot produce a large quantity because they use, they're not using modern equipments and modern technology. It's just more of peasant farming using the old tools for farming, things like machete. There's one they call I forgot what they call it. Let me show you some of the tools. You can see that they use in those in some places for farming. Let me open it. You can see. Okay. Okay. Have see, you can see this, right?
Yes, yeah. I can see it.
So what is it? Images of. Yep. See this kind of tools. Instead of using a tractor, you use this or a rake tool, and so on and so forth. So this kind of thing decrease output. I mean, if you want to produce, if you are doing a subsistence farming, that's fine. But for the entire country that want to export it, it becomes difficult to produce in large quantity. So this kind of that is also one of the reasons why this kind of economy is disappearing. You know, you can only still find them in developing countries. Now, so each member of the traditional economy has a more specific and pronounced role, and these societies tend to be very close-knit and socially they are satisfied, but economically they are not satisfied because less jobs available. So, but they lack access to technology and advanced medicine. So, example, I wrote examples here. The traditional economies are often in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East. You also have pockets of it in the scattered around the world. There used to be, I don't know if they still have them now. In Philadelphia, there's this particular group. They don't want to become involved with modern life. I forgot what they call them. Their neighborhoods, they still use ride horses, like chariot horses. They produce almost everything they need. I forgot what they call them. I forgot the name. I remember it. I'm talking about like as of 2006. How I know about that group in America? It was a crime was committed there, and it was written. Then the newspaper started talking about how they live, their community, and so on and so forth. They everything they eat, like their farming is more of a traditional organic farming. What's the name? I forgot the name. They have around Philadelphia. They have it there. I forgot the name of that group. Anyway, so that is a form of traditional economy. But in that case, they just decided to do it that way. But the one we have in this country that I mentioned, Africa, in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Middle East, those ones, this is their way of life. Yeah. So for example, I'll give an example here with Haiti. Has a largely traditional economic system in which most of the economy relies on subsistence farming, and government regulation is widely constrained. So now, and of course, you know that Haiti is in Caribbean, which is also a developing country. Now, any question before we go to the next type of economic system?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Then next one is the command economy or centralized plan economy. So in this economic system, a large part of the system is controlled by the centralized power, which is the government. I gave one of some examples last week with USSR, the former Soviet Union. So in this case, the means of production are owned by the government. So government owns all the significant industries like utilities, aviation, railroad, you name it. So good example of country that still practices it today. I will have or the practices today or something similar to what they have there is we have North Korea and Cuba. Then another place that they practice something similar now is Venezuela. So you notice that those countries that have this kind of system is not the economy is usually messed up for the simple reason that the government is not really a good at managing businesses. Any government are not good at managing businesses. When you compare something that looks like government business in America, things like public school to private school, then you understand what I'm talking about, or public buses. Even that one, government, they're even trying compared to this country that practices communism or what they call centrally planned economies. North Korea is almost the poorest country in the world, even poorer than most, even though they have their nuclear weapon and all this. But if you go there, a lot of people are starving. North Korea, many people are starving. And because people want to, that kind of economy that where the government controls everything, that means people don't feel free. North Korea, a poor country like North Korea, there are so many times that the whole world came together to bail North Korea out of famine. You know what they call famine? Let me put it this way. I'm sure you know you have heard of this word before, famine.
Yes.
Yeah, there are many times the whole world came out to bail them out of famine. They supply, give them free food. If the current president now, and if he was president after his father was president, the same thing. Even before the father was president, the founder of the country, I forgot his name. They all end with Kim something. I forgot how they pronounce the last name. Anyway, long story short, because of the system, the way they practice the government, if the government is running a business, running a country, or is running the business in the country, they're not running it because they're not making profit as their goal. So they're not running the right way. Now, if I own a business, if I don't run it the right way, I will not make sales. That means I won't have money. So I'll be forced to do the right thing, provide what the customers want at affordable price. That is the only way I can make money. But if the government is doing it, the people that work for the government, they get paid anyway, whether they make profit or not. So they don't have the incentive to run the business the right way. So because of that, when government control everything, all the businesses, they're usually not managed properly. They become inefficient. And that means they're not making money, which also translates into the country not making money. And when the country is not making money, they won't have enough to provide what the citizens want. So all those countries that practices command system, when Russia had that kind of system, there's mass starvation, famine, and of course, people want to escape from that kind of community society, but the government won't let them to escape or to leave. So they usually turn into dictatorship. All the countries that practices centralized system are usually dictatorship. Now, if you look at what is going on in places like Venezuela today, you will discover that this kind of economic system is not the best for any country. Yeah. Now, so the market economy is always the best. Market economy has its own bad side because the manufacturers or businesses can get too greedy and start engaging in some activities that are illegal. For example, they can use deceptive advertising to sell, to convince people to buy. So that is where, in this case, the government comes in as a kind of regulator. See, so in other words, a market economy, which is a free economy, is better than all of other systems I mentioned, but it also have its own bad side because some businesses in their pursuit of profit may start doing some malpractices, so through producing things that are even harmful just to market it, sell it, and make money. So in order to prevent that from happening, government steps in. So we have, for banking business, we have regulators. And for other businesses, we have regulators that say you can't do this, you can't do that. To make sure that everybody follow the rule, we're looking for their own self-interest. So a good example of any country that practices it, we have United States, we have Canada, you have Britain, France, Spain, Italy. Now, China used to be a communist country too. And during that time, if you read the history of the communist China, For years, millions of people died from starvation. So China was, as a matter of fact, the first to open up, allow businesses, individuals to own businesses. That was when China started growing. Now, but there is not a complete market economy, because government still control a lot of things in China. But what they have there is what they call a mixed economy. And this is what we have in many developing countries in Africa and some part of South America. We call it mixed economy. Government state control is a mixture of market economy and, of course, command economy. But because it's not a free market economy, where we have what we call almost a laissez-faire. So because of that, government state control a very large part of it. Now, in places like Nigeria and say Ghana, Kenya, then Iran, Iraq, what they call it, Pakistan, that practice mixed economy that we have. Government controls so many businesses. In Nigeria alone, government has more than 1,500 public-owned businesses, and then all of them are not doing well, because for the simple reason that government is not a good business manager. Individuals that work for the government, at the end of the month, they get paid anyway, whether things because they make their money from taxes and by selling natural resources. But so because of that, they're not worried about doing the right thing to make the business work. If you own a business, you want your staff to be up and up when it comes to the job, because that's how they get paid. So if they don't do it the right way, they don't get paid. So they'll be forced to do the right thing always. Of course, like I said, there's still gonna be some bad actors there who might engage in some certain malpractices. But then there's also regulators. So if they are caught doing that, they get they face the consequences. We have seen it in what's the name of this guy that is in jail now? Benny Madoff, and so many of them, so many people like him, and also some businesses that do something that are not legal. If they are caught, they face and it's proved beyond reasonable doubt, they face the music. So we have regulators, but in a free market economy that makes sure that people follow the rule. But other than that, is a free business economy. And because the people in that kind of economy that own businesses want to make money, they be forced to do the right thing. Produce goods at affordable price. They're always looking for a way to produce the same thing at affordable price so that they can sell more and make more. And when they sell more and make more, the more revenue means more taxes to government. And with more taxes from the government can provide the essential services that people need, like health, public safety, education, and so on and so forth. So I would say, let's just take a short break, then come back and then finish up. Okay, we still have 6 minutes before 11 o'clock, I believe. So I will say it is now 10:54. Let's make it up to 15 minutes break. 10:54, 11:04. Oh, it's now 10:55. So 10:55, 11:05 is 10 minutes. So we come back here 11:10. Hello? Hello?
11:10.
11:10, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let us take a short break and stretch our muscles, and then we'll be back here to round up. So see you at 11:10 then. Are we back?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes, sir.
So I hope you enjoyed the break, the short break. Or was it too short? What do you think, Miss Lane?
It is what it is, sir.
Mr. William, what do you think?
It was quite short, but I'm good.
Maybe next time we can take up to 20 minutes.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay. I'll have that in mind on next Saturday. Any objection, Miss Jenkins?
Questions?
Huh?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Is there
Okay.
any objection to that?
No, no, sir. Whatever you want to do is fine.
Okay. So from next Saturday it will be 20 minutes break then. So that we can recharge very well, then come back.
I spent a little time doing some research. So my break was really short because with some of the things that you said about the checks and balances by business made me think of that guy, Martin Shepko. I don't know how to say his last name, but he was the one who was in pharmaceutical, and he raised the price of one drug. It used to be like $13.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. What's the name? The one in jail now, right?
Yes, he's doing 7 years.
Finally they got him.
Yes, but they didn't get him for raising the prices. They got him for another scheme that he did.
Because they couldn't, even though he jacked the price up so much, they couldn't prove price gouging. You know, if they can prove it, then they can. But they couldn't. I don't think they were able to prove it. So they were able to get him with something else.
He was always so arrogant. But they said he started crying when he got that 7 years. 7 years is a long time.
And it's a long time, and for somebody of his status, it is like a generation. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, somebody who is not that you know, as a CEO, to constrain you, somebody who has reached the level of a CEO, to constrain you for 5-7 years, that's a lot. But for some, you know, for young people that doesn't have much yet, like you know, that do all these drugs and all this stuff. Well, they're not CEO yet, so they don't know the privilege and the respect that come with being a CEO. You know, so they don't. I mean, if you give them 7 years, and usually for good behavior, they get released after some few years. You know, what I'm trying to say here is that there's certain level you reach in life, that kind of punishment to become more painful to you than somebody who have not reached that level. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So now we are back. Let us look at economic problem that every society must solve. So every society has a problem. If the rich, there's this TV, shall I call it soap opera? They call it the rich also cry. So even the rich countries also have their own problems. But the particular one I'm about to explain is you see it in every society. So now society, because of this problems that I'm about to explain, every society have to make some kind of choice and trade-offs when answering these questions that relate to those problems. The first one is what to produce. Second one is how to produce them. The third one is who will receive, I call it for whom to produce, or who will receive the goods and services produced. Let's see how this relates to every society. Let's start with what to produce. Yeah, what good and service to produce. So this question is answered by the choices made that we the consumers or the firms that produce the goods and the government themselves. So now we as the consumers, we help to decide what will be produced by our, you know, how we spend on goods and services. So if more people are buying a CD on this movie, there's this movie that came out, The Irishman, that came out, I think on Netflix last year, I think. If more people are spending money buying it, that will send a signal to Netflix to produce more CDs of that. Or if more people are, okay, now I'll give, let me use an example that really hits home. Now, during the, I think the COVID-19 started hit US bad, started hitting us bad in March, I think, right? March of last year. Am I right?
I think so.
Yeah. So during that time, people got scared about going to restaurants and even about traveling. So that would send a signal to restaurants that we don't have to stock up as we used to be because nobody was going to buy it. And also with so that's the signal. People are scared of coming to restaurants. I mean, not everybody's scared, but compared to how people go to restaurants before the COVID-19. So you can say that many restaurants have to close because they're not getting enough sales. How about the airline industry? Something at that time, people were scared of traveling. So we have to ground some planes because nobody's using them. Now, this is another example. There's so many ways you can put examples you can put in. When people start buying, there was a time when I came to America, there was this I see, after the midnight, like after 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, there's this commercial they make for like hours. What do they call it? Slim down. What do they call it? Different kind of program on how to cut down your weight, and then people start spending money buying those things. That would be a signal for those that advertise it to produce more. So what to produce is what the market wants. If the market is demanding this, they produce it and you sell. If the market is not demanding it, then that's what's the point. And I can give you so many examples. When I come to America, that time we don't have smartphone. We have cell phone, but not smartphone, And you can't do so many, all this stuff you can do on your phone today. You can't do it on the phone. The most you can do with your phone was make a call, send a text message, or maybe take pictures or videos. That time, So now, somebody who was able to figure out that because at that time many people don't even have internet in their house. They go to the library to use it. But people really need something like a smartphone. Somebody was able to figure it out. BlackBerry first did it. It started selling. Then Apple and the rest other companies that make smartphone then jump into the fray. And then they're able to. So the demand is still continue to grow. Now, and more people are buying it. Now, let me use a common thing that we know, like the newspapers. When I came to America, the newspaper, if you want to buy Baltimore Sun, it is this thick. Because most things are published on the paper. Now, as time goes on, people are reading more online, more articles online, and the demand, it will become expensive to make it big, that thick, because nobody's buying them. So they were able to cut down. In fact, but most Sun have to lay off so many journalists, so many employees to cut down. If you get a Baltimore Sun, it's very thin. The rest are online. You see, because of the growth in online demand for articles and other things, they are forced to reduce. So people give you the signal. People take the demand. Let me put it this way: like I said last week, you as an individual actually vote for companies, but you're not voting with your ballot paper. You're voting with your money. When people start buying something, buying it a lot, that sends a signal that, oh, we should start producing this. Now, government can also intervene. Like government came out and said, okay, they can choose whether to spend more of it with better resources on breast cancer research, for example, or on homeland security. Now, Government cannot even make, especially in a situation like this pandemic, can say, okay, restaurants have to close down and do only, I think, what do you call it, home delivery, like you order and there's delivered to your house. So that means you have to make adjustments so that you can now make online orders and deliver to people at home to be able to make money and pay your bills. So in each of these cases, it is still the people and the companies or the governments that decide what to produce. Government doesn't decide, but government can take action that we help influence that decision. Now, how does companies get involved here? A company like Apple might choose whether to devote some of the resources to iPhone or more Apple watches. Everything depends on the demand. If the customer, the bottom line when it comes to free economy is that the customers, their demand, send the right signal on what to produce. Yeah. Now, next one is how will you produce goods and services? I might decide to use labor instead of machines to produce it, or you might decide to use machines instead of labor to produce it. Sometimes you might say, okay, like I said, if you have a business, you always want to cut down your expense account so that you can make money, profit. If you're spending so much more than you're making, you're not making profit. So that's why sometimes I don't blame some of those countries that some of those companies in America that outsource their work, because this is how they can survive in the global economy. They outsource it so that they can produce at a cheap price. Don't produce it and bring it in here and still make profit. So some can say, okay, many clothes you buy in Walmart are not sold in America. Many of them are sold in what do you call it? Venezuela, not Venezuela. I mean, what's it? Some of those Asian countries, Bangladesh, and some Southeast Asian countries. Many of them are soon there. Some are made in US too, but many of them are in Walmart and other small and some stores like Walmart. They are soon outside because of the fact that of the cost of labor in those countries are cheaper than what you have here. And as a company, you are in business to make money, not to lose money. So anytime you see something that will make you to cut cost, you always adopt it. You know, whether it is here or in other countries. So moving job outside the country is not a political decision; it's a business decision. Never mind what our politicians keep making it demonizing the businesses as if they are committing crime by doing that. See, in America, we like to say, buy. Let me put it this way: we put some standards for businesses, minimum wage. Now, working condition, then of the workers. Then how about their workers' insurance, holidays, benefits? But we're not willing to pay for products that are produced under those conditions. Because the product will high. So if you see an iPhone made in America that are selling for $700, and the same kind of iPhone made in China, but it's in America, being sold in America at $200, which one will you buy, Miss Lane? Miss Lane, you there?
Yes.
I was saying that we Americans, we want our working conditions or the production process in America, and let me put it this way: what we require our businesses to provide give to their employees, things like minimum wage.
Well, those are all laws that the government has imposed upon.
Yeah, exactly. So those laws, but we're not willing to buy things that are produced under those conditions. See? So then I ask a question, because all those things, what the factories or employers or businesses does is that those costs that the government impose on them, they will transfer those costs to us, the consumers, in terms of prices of the things that they make. So that translates into higher price. Now, then I see, so the businesses, like I say, if you're in business, you're there to make money, not to lose money. So now, without that interest in making money, there won't be any, you won't have a job, I won't have a job, because it is my interest to make money that give me the incentive to start a business. And in the process, I created jobs. You see what I mean? So now, if I find a way that I can make an iPhone and sell it for $200, and you say, okay, you want to make your own in America, but because of the cost, you're selling your own $700. Now, which of the iPhones will you buy? Are you going to buy the one that is sold for $700 here, or the same type of phone but it's being sold at $200? Which one will you buy, Ms. Len?
Well, I of course would buy the cheaper phone, but on the other hand, I do have an incentive to buy America, so I do look for labels to say "Made in America." But when you buy on Amazon, your cheaper products with the same sort of equivalency as far as value, you're going to be buying from China, or primarily from China, other countries. But if you're going to be buying handbags, for example, which I buy a lot of, you're not going to be buying handbags made in America. You're going to be, they may be distributed in America, or they may have an American brand name, but a lot of that is made in foreign countries, particularly China. And one thing that you raised that I did want to just talk about a little bit, when people talk about you should buy American because that helps the American economy, that's true. But on the other hand, we do tax products made in other countries. One thing that I only took one course in international tax law. I only took that one course, but I found it very fascinating because the professor took a calculator and said, okay, this calculator is made up of various different components. And when those components come into our country, we do tax them. So the entire product may not be taxed internationally or international tax, but the components of it, that gets very, very complicated because a calculator, a desk calculator, may have components from all over the world and then actually and shipped to a central location. The calculator itself may be put together in another country and then shipped to the US. So we do get some revenue or benefit from products made in other countries.
Of course. So what I'm saying is this, buy American goods, buy any country's good is good. But we as customers, we know, like I started this topic today by saying that we make choices because we have limited resources. Some things can be made in America cheaper than other countries. And some things can make in other countries cheaper than in America. That is the essence of trade. You produce where you can cut costs and then sell and make profit. You see what I mean? Yeah. So,
yes.
So buy America is good, buy other countries is good, but as consumers, we buy what we can afford to buy. So because of the cost of labor here, many products here are, in fact, there's what they call the law of natural selection. If your company cannot, whether it's in America or it's in anywhere, if they cannot make a product at an affordable price, those companies who can have the ability to make those things at an affordable price will drive you out of business. And that's what is happening. But if you see those areas where we have comparative advantage, we are doing well there. Comparative advantage means that you can make it. You have enough. You can produce it cheaper than other countries. Like when it comes to software and other things, we America have comparative advantage over that, and the many countries in the world. You see what I mean? So, but in other products, they don't have the comparative advantage, then they cannot exchange through trade. Mr. Nunez, do you have any question for me?
No, sir.
Now, so next is the who will receive the goods and services produced. Well, those that have the ability to pay will receive the goods and services produced. For example, if those that can afford to buy something like luxury cars like BMW or Mercedes, they can buy it, but those that can afford to buy less luxury cars can afford to buy it. They can buy less luxury cars like Nissan, Toyota, and so far. They can buy those ones. Those that can afford to buy single homes will buy it, and those that can afford to buy that cannot afford to buy single homes can buy I think you could call it condos or something. Then those that cannot afford to buy homes can rent. So those individuals with the highest income have the ability to buy most goods and services. So, but I wrote here that there's one important policy question that the government have, because if you leave the society that's in that form, there will be some individuals that cannot, that are left behind, who cannot afford certain things. So government try to equalize that by intervening. And I'll give you an example here. Before the Social Security was established, if you are poor, you are poor. That means you can't afford anything. But now government intervened by providing Social Security, whereby if you have a certain income, you can qualify for things like food stamp and cash assistance and other social programs to equalize. It doesn't equalize everything, but at least make some people who are not able to, to be among the middle class and upper middle class, or who are, let me put this, poor. So poor to afford certain things, at least food and nutrition and education and so on and so forth. I mean, it's not a perfect system, but at least it works, because at least there are many people that benefit from it. Many people benefit from a housing voucher, because if they cannot afford to pay rent, they have the voucher. If they qualify, of course, they have voucher that will help them to pay rent for their family. They have, if they have kids especially, they still have a food stamp and other that will help them to at least feed their children. Unlike before the Social Security, when if you don't have food, you don't have food. Yeah, so government intervened in that form by so that people in higher income also pay a fraction of that income in taxes, a little bit higher in taxes, just to be able to, they tax the middle class a little bit higher, and then they transfer that tax to to the lower class, or the poor, the people below the poverty line, to trying to balance it. Like I said, it is not a perfect system, it's not a perfect balance, but at least it works to a certain extent. So then also one of the attractive features of the market economy is also that it rewards hard work. So that means if you work hard, and like we are doing now, trying to get a degree, you raise your income, and then you can afford to buy more goods and services. Any question? Questions? Look like you are all tired, sleepy for the weekend.
We're here. We're listening, but I don't have any questions.
So now, let's look at other concept we're going to examine today. First one is the demand. Well, what demand? When we talk about demand, we are referring to the quantity of goods and services that people are willing and able to buy. So it is only a demand if it is backed by the ability to pay. So demand is different from desire. I mean, I might desire to have a helicopter or an airplane, but if I cannot afford to pay for it, that is not demand. If I want to buy, let's say I want to eat Chinese food, and I can afford to pay for it, that is demand. So demand is the quantity that we demand that people are willing and able to buy. Now, let's look at some the types of demand we have. We have the individual demand, which is when goods and services are demanded by individual peoples, like things like clothes, wares, cell phone, food, cars, and so on and so forth. So when goods are demanded by individuals, we call it individual demand. We have the household demand. This is when goods and services are demanded by household. Things like the demand of a house or washing machine is a good example. Then the market demand, all the commodities that are demanded by individual and household in an economy constitute a market demand. So, which leads us to the demand function. This is how it looks like. So, it shows the relationship between the quantity demanded of a commodity and the and the factors influencing the demand. So quantity and price and other factors. Now, it's have a Q equals MP plus B, where the Q is for the quantity demanded, P is for the price, and B is for the in math we call it the intercept. Well, don't get scared. We're not gonna do too much calculation here. You just I want to use it to illustrate something. Now, let's look at how it goes. The weekly sales at neighborhood boot store are given by this equation here. Negative 4. Oh, I forgot to mention this part. The M is the slope, and it's always for the demand function. It is always negative value, and I'll explain that later. So now, the demand for this is negative 4.5p plus 4,000 shoes. So it says calculate the amount of weekly sales if the price of the boot is $5, the price of the boot is $12, then the price of the boot is the boot is free. Let me put it this way. So let's look at this in this part A to B, how the demand will be or how the sales will be if the price is at value at $5 or $12 or no price. In the next slide, I'll show you. So this is the equation here. All we need to do is to plug in the price P. So for the A part, it says the price of $5. So we can plug in $5 for P. So it gives us negative 4.5 times 5 plus 4,000. And I'm going to show you with
P is price, right?
Yeah, P is price.
Could you go back to the formula, Professor?
Huh?
Could you go back to the formula, please?
Sure.
So we can copy it down?
Sure. And remember, I will upload this for you too in the files. So the P represents the price, the Q is the quantity. So this is given just to illustrate a point. But if you want to get this derive this equation, there's a step we need to take, but we're not doing that at this level. So so Ms. Lena, have you the formula now? You got it?
No, I don't. Can you go back to the first slide where you presented the formula?
Oh yeah, sure. Right here.
Okay, Q equals MP plus B, and
yeah.
M is slope.
Yeah, it means that's the rate of change. Yeah. P is the for price, and B is the intercept. For example, in this one that example we're doing, B is the B part is the 4,000 boots. So you got it now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So now we plug in this. Now we have when is it $5? You have $5. I'm gonna use this. Okay, let me use this. Desmos. Negative 4.5 times $5 I got negative 4.5 times $5. Okay, close it, plus 4,000. I think it's 4,000 they have there. So 3,977 boots will be bought. You can see it here. Now, since we don't have a 0.6 boots, so we have to round it. That gives us 3,908 boots. Now we do the same thing when the price is $12. It goes up to 3,946. I think hold on. I think I typed the wrong thing here. Let me check the calculation again. You got 3,977.5. So that's how we get 978 right here. So now I will raise this to $12. It goes down to 3,946. And when it is free, 4,000 boots were bought. So you can see that as the price increased from $5 to $12, so they bought less of the boots. And when it's free, they get more. People get more of it. So this shows that the higher the price, the lower the demand, and which brings us to the law of demand. According to the law of demand and supply, according to the law of demand, the quantity demanded decreases if the price increases, and vice versa. Okay. So examples here. During the like now, sometimes a business might have, let's say that let's say JC Penney, for example. Now, if there's a new shipment of designs of clothes coming in now, and they still have some unsold inventory of design of clothes that ties down their money. Now, but a new design is coming in. If they don't get that new design, another company like Ross might buy them off and then take the market, corner the market. So what JCPenney can do is okay, okay, the President Day is coming. Okay, let us have sales 40% off. That 40% off, it means a decrease in price. People will come in to buy it. Whenever they have sales, people come in to buy it. So that by selling it, they will release that money that was tied down by that unsold inventory and used to buy a new inventory so that they can catch up with their competitors. So with sales means lowering the price. That is low price, higher demand, because people hear, oh, we have a sale, they go to buy it. It happened not only in a store like JCPenney. It happened even in grocery stores. When people have there's a sale for pork in Food Lion, they rush it and buy it. So that sale they are doing means the same as 30% off, 10% off. People like to. Bottom line is that it reduces the price, and because of that, more people are buying it. That means more demand. See, so that is what the law of demand is saying. Now we have it as
I don't quite understand. Are you saying the higher the price, the lower the demand? Is that what you're saying?
No. Sell. When stores do sell, what do? Are they lowering it or lowering it or increasing it?
When they want to sell something, they will lower the price.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The lower demand says the lower the price, the higher the demand.
Oh, you mean the more people want, by higher demand, you mean you're saying more people will want it. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what people, whenever businesses have sales, they have more people coming in to buy their stuff. That is how more people coming in means higher demand. So by doing sales, that means cutting off the price. They are actually trying to influence the demand because of this law. They know that if they lower the price, more people will buy it. Of course, when you're lowering the price, you are trying to make you have to lower it at a point where you can still make some profit.
So it's sort of like when they offer a coupon.
Yes, coupons also, yes. This all those things is to help you to lower the price and to attract more demand.
And when you go when they don't have the product because they didn't have enough of it. So you go in with your coupon 50% off of the toothpaste, you go across and you hand them the $50, the 50-cent coupon off the toothpaste, and then they don't have it in the store because it's all been bought out. So their demand goes up and they can't meet it. Okay, I got it.
And sometimes even when people don't even have immediate need for something, when they had it that the price is low now, they say, "Oh, let's go and stock up," Okay. So there was a time, I think that was a long time ago. I think it was 2010. That time, Oprah. You guys know Oprah, right? Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, Oprah Winfrey, yeah.
Yeah, there used to be a time she used to give a coupon for Kentucky Fried Chicken. If you get that coupon, you can get a meal free of chicken free. So that time you see a lot of people going to by doing that, he reducing the kind of making it free. You see more people going to Kentucky Fried Chicken to take those if they get the coupon. You download the coupon, I think you download it online, you go there, they give you the chicken. There was time he did it. I think around 2010. During that time, there's demand for those chicken from the I don't know if I think probably he must have paid some money to them to be able to give that coupon. Anyway, so let me show you mathematically this is the demand schedule. Price of eggs or apples and the quantity. So at $10 per pound, one will be bought. At $9, three will be bought. $8, 7. So these are numbers that I made up, but just to show you how the law of demand works. And we know that it works because each time we see that the business is making a sale. Like I use grocery store because all of us go to grocery store. We buy groceries, sometimes weekly. So if Food Line is having a sale, but Walmart is not having a sale, I'll go to Food Line because they're having a sale. So you see the demand go up because of the sale. So as you can see, as the price decreases, the quantity demanded increases. As the price increases, the quantity. So less are bought at higher price, and more are bought at lower price. That's what the law of demand and supply is saying. Even the market demand is the same thing. At $10, 400 pounds of apple were bought. At $9, 1,400 pounds. So as the lowest price of $6, 4,500 pounds were bought. So that is we can use a curve called the demand curve to represent this. You can see that it slopes downward from left to right. Showing that at this quantity, at this price, P1, which is the highest price, only the Q2 quantity were bought. When they move the price down to P2, you see that more quantity will be bought. That's what is one schedule. So, and that's what I was explaining here. Now, there's one concept I want us to look at. It's called ceteris paribus assumption. We use it in economics. This simply means holding other things constant or else being equal. I will explain this using a simple language. Let's say that I have a job, right? Okay. So now I can buy a car by next month. Ceteris paribus. I mean, it's all things being, so long as I remain in my job with my income, I can buy a car next month. See, but if all things are not equal, I mean, suppose I lose the job by next month, that means I can't buy the car. So ceteris paribus means holding every other thing constant. This can happen. Let me give you an example and more examples. In 1999, the economy was booming. The stock market was booming. People were getting jobs. Now, nobody knew. there are so many predictions that economy we are making that job every month they publish the unemployment unemployment statistics showing that the economy is growing. There are many predictions made that it will continue to grow to reach a certain place by next year. Many businesses were making projections, but then based on ceteris paribus assumption that all things will be equal, nobody knew that coronavirus will strike. And then, but then it struck last year, and everything, all the predictions made that year, last year became almost invalid because of what all things are not equal. See, especially for many people lost their jobs instead of getting more jobs. So the predictions made that more people will be getting more jobs, and the job growth will be to this level by June of 2012. All those things became null and void because all things are not equal. So in economics, but even when we say that demand, the prices goes up. As price goes up, the demand will increase. Sorry, as prices go down, the demand will increase. When we say that, we are assuming that all things will be equal. Now, if the prices go down for a car next month, well, my demand for car, if I lose my job, my demand for car will not increase. You see, because all things are not equal. Yeah. So that's what this concept is talking about. So as I give more examples here, an economist might say ceteris paribus means raising minimum wage increases unemployment. All things being equal. Yeah, how does this happen? Well, if you have a restaurant where you have 4 people working for you and you're paying them $5 per an hour, now government came out with their law. Oh, you have to pay minimum wage of $15 an hour. That means that me who own the restaurant cannot afford to pay that. So what do? I was okay to be able to pay this amount. I'm going to lay off two of my employees. See, so that's why sometimes minimum wage doesn't work, because you end up hurting the people we are trying to save. You raise the minimum wage to help the low income earners, but you actually hurt them, because to be able to pay that amount that you say the minimum wage be, basically you have to lay off some of those people that you those minimum wage workers. They will lay them off so that they're able to afford to pay that amount you are mandating them to pay. So if the minimum wage is to be raised, it should be done by economists, not by politicians. You know, that's the way I'm seeing it. Because as the economy start to grow with high demand, and if you are trained for a job, so with high demand, it means that it will bring business we like to produce more. That means they will start to hire more workers. But because of high demand for workers, they'll naturally say, okay, come to work for us. We'll pay you higher amount than this other company, you know, and so on and so forth. And you know, I'll give an example with the U.S. military. During the time when they were having a war at Iraq, they were offering all the military recruiters were offering people all kinds of benefits just to join the army. You see, government did not mandate them to do that. It's just that the high demand for soldiers, to attract those soldiers, they were offering them, you're going to pay your tuition, you're going to pay, give you free education, you're going to give you free this, free that, if you join the military, you know. So that's how business will be doing if the demand is high. So if the demand is high for certain professions, that profession will command higher pay because of the demands. And those companies paying it, we actually be gaining, because they need those employees that will produce more for them, and then they'll make more profit. But when the government come and say, oh, everybody should pay $15 an hour, there's many businesses that cannot afford to pay that. So that means they lay off the workers, for the workers. That's why we say that minimum wage.
They're going to lay off the workers. I guess
not all of them. Not all of them. Just to be able to.
No, I understand, just so that they again make their profit. In other words, you would do a financial calculation and they weigh one against the other. So if going to $15 an hour means that my cost of my labor is going to go up by X.
Yes.
I'm going to make sure I lay off enough workers to make X down to 0.
Yes,
So
to be
that
able to-
I'm continuing to make the same profit. I guess you
Yes.
just businessmen never consider, well, maybe I should take less profit. I guess they
No.
never think that way, right?
No. See, if they're thinking that way, they will not be in business, because then that means you should have a non-profit organization.
Mm.
You know, if you are taking, so I know that it doesn't sound good that their interest is in profit. Profit is actually why 90% of people are still working. That desire to make profit is why 90% of the population are still working, because that's why we create business, to make profit. Then the process will now hire people. You know, not only that, minimum wage. Each time you increase the minimum wage, within a few years, the price will rise to catch up with the amount. So it usually causes inflation in the long run. Otherwise, for many years, almost every decade, there's always talking about minimum wage. And each time they increase it, within 10 years, the price will rise to catch up with that amount. So it becomes as if nothing was done again. Then you have to raise it again. You see? When I came to the US, the minimum wage, I think it was $5.15. Now they're talking about raising it to $15 per hour. So you will see what I mean by that now. By now, I think Obama raised it to $9.25. I think I forgot the amount, but it's about $9 something during the Obama administration. It was raised, and they are talking about raising it again. So anyway, at the end of the day, you end up hurting those poor workers that you are trying to help. You know. Anyway, that's tell you about ceteris paribus. It says if all things being equal, raising minimum wage might cause unemployment. Now, let us look at some of the factors that affect demand, and we'll be rounding up. The factors include have income, quality, taste and preferences. There are many of them, but we look at them one by one. The first one is income. Usually, as your income increases, your demand for goods will increase. And so sometimes you might even have a desire for something, but that you don't even know. But once your income increases, that desire will just start to grow. Then you want to buy that latest BMW that just came out, or to live in a more respectable neighborhood, because your income have really gone up. So, but if you lose your income, let's say you lost your job, your demand will decrease. Yeah. Another thing is quality. So an increase in quality of goods can also affect demand. Like the demand for iPhones, I give an example with iPhones. So the quality is right, so they have high demand. For an Apple product, people like it because of the quality. Yeah. Now, next is the taste and preferences that usually change. Yeah. Now, for example, if a celebrity like what's their names, Oprah, endorses something. As a matter of fact, Oprah used to do it before. I don't know if she still does it. Now, if you write a book and Oprah's pick your book, that's it. Your book will become a bestseller overnight. So that creates taste for your book because of that endorsement. Yeah. So taste and preferences also causes demand. Now, if your taste and preferences changes, your demand for certain product also change. Yeah. Now, I also wrote here, between 1980 to 2012, the per person consumption of chicken by Americans rose, while that of beef declined. Because of all these, so many programs about red meat, red meat is not good for you, this, that. It was almost like a hype. So when people started eating chicken, even some people even went vegetarian. So that increases the demand for those products, and so on and so forth. Next is the price. That was the main thing we started with. The higher the price, the lower the demand, and so on and so forth. So if the price increases, the demand might go down. But if the price decreases, like if a business is making a sale, then more demand will come in. So another one is the price of related goods. If the price of related goods rises or falls, it can affect the other good. Good example is gas and SUV. So if the price of gas goes up, then that like it did during the Bush regime of the 2000, I think 2002 to 2008, 7, I believe, because of the war in Iraq, oil price rose so much. Now people started buying less SUVs because SUVs are gas guzzlers, But now when the price of oil gas collapsed in the 2014, more people are buying SUV now than that time. Any question for me?
Excuse me to interrupt you, but what time does this class end?
It's almost time. I think it's 12:10, right? Am I right? Oh, hold on, let me check.
It is 12:01 right now. Yeah, because I have a part-time job at 1 p.m.
Oh yeah, don't worry, we're almost done. I just want to say a few things out, and then I'll upload this for you so that you can read it later on. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to say something to them. So Miss Lynn, and like I promised, I'm gonna upload this for you so you can read the rest. Don't forget to read the other chapters. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So now the your problem have been solved. The one you were asking me, so I'm happy for that. So you can go ahead and complete the homework. Now, Mr. Williams, you can now copy the other the introduction that you did before. You posted in the wrong place, and then post it at the right place so I can grade them.
Yes, I already did, sir.
Okay, good. Miss Lynn, of course, Miss Lynn know already. So please read up the rest of the PowerPoint, and don't forget to read the chapter 3. If you look at my announcement for the week, read them, please, so that you can, when you start taking the matching quiz, you'll be comfortable, you do it very well. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And I see I'm gonna put a copy of this video for you in the canvas once it started saving it, so you can also watch it anytime you want. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a good weekend.
You too.
Have a great one.
You too.